With that said, Mr. Thomas was right. This is not a time to be chilling out, checking out. This is a time to be talking to people because everybody that I know and everybody I don't know is worried. There was once upon a time that if you had a federal job with the federal government, you were set for life. You had money coming in, a retirement, this and that, the other thing. Some friends of mine up in Virginia and Maryland, oh, you know, it's just not guaranteed no more. And no job really was ever guaranteed because if you're making whatever cell phones or pagers, or you're making typewriters, or you're making paper, or you're making pencils, whatever you're making, at some point in time, people wouldn't need it no more, and they'll be moving over to a new technology. The technology I grew up with was a paper and a pencil, not even a pen, and that technology is kind of like gone. And so now they're going to AI, and then after AI, I imagine it'd be something else. The question that you have is you're already in the business. And I want to make sure that this month we're going to clarify what business you're in. And more importantly, what do you need to do? You're fortunate because we have a leader, Mr. Thomas, who can teach us the skills we need to be able to do this. But I want you for a minute, not excusing Mr. Thomas, okay, but I'm going to say this. I want you to forget about your downline, and what they're doing, and forget about your upline and what they're doing. What you need to be worried about is who? Who do you need to be worried about? Yeah, you. Now, Mr. Thomas has all the tools. He has a meeting every day for us, has meetings at night for us, although it's like 9 or 10 o'clock on the East Coast, but still, he has meetings for us, and he's bringing on extra speakers that are coming in from all over the place within our industry, all of them, and they understand it. So you got the professional help for self-development is built into the fact that Mr. Thomas. So that's valuable. Why in the world would you be trying to do something that somebody's already done, and you're trying to figure out another way of doing it? Okay. So what we're going to do is talk about a couple of systems out there so that you can build a business. This next 5 years, I'll probably say this next year, you need to work like crazy this next year to set up the rest of your life. If you're 88 years old, you need to work hard the rest this year, 2025 through 26, to set up the rest of your life. Because you've already got the skills and the talents, you know about those. It's just that everything's not coming together. And finish never is. If you're one of those people that are waiting for it to get to a certain place and then you won't have to do nothing no more, you're in the wrong business. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. No matter what you're in, if you want to just get to a certain spot, get to become a supervisor, get to become a lead person, get to become a superintendent, just become a plant manager, become a general, whatever. If you just want to do that, and then after that, you chilling out, there is no such thing. Mr. Provenzano says, finish never is. Finish never is. You got people like Elon Musk who built one business and he's working on another. You got people that are working several things at one time, and they're working them because they're constantly growing. The world is changing, and they don't want to get caught flat-footed. Okay, where whatever they built is over. We're fortunate because the business that we're in, people gotta have. We're not selling paper and pencils. We're not selling ink pens. What we have is opportunity. I want you to remember that. Besides the services that we have, we're just fortunate to be with a company that has services, okay? And these are services that people buy unconsciously. I mean, they don't think about it. And habitually, they do it every month. In fact, most of the services that we have, people have them on auto pay. Most of the services that we have, people have it on auto pay. In other words, $53 comes out of their account every month, $22 comes out of their account every month, $66 comes out of their account every month. And if they're not with us, if they're not using our services, they are still using what we have. They can't do without this stuff. Okay, they can't do without electricity, gas, and all that. So if you have the right business and you have the right mentorship, what's the problem? You got to ask yourself, what's the problem? And, we always told, look in the mirror. If you look in the mirror, you'll see the problem. So what I want to do is introduce a young man. His name is Jeff Street. He just became SVP at our last convention. He was, I don't know if that's the right word, but he became SVP at the last convention. Okay. And I know Jeff and loosely, kind of crazy, but Jeff was in Excel with us. I don't know if Al knows that or not. but he was an Excel rep. We were in Excel together. And he talks about a business that he was in. It went out of business and he wanted nothing to do with multi-level marketing again. But he wanted his children, wherever they were, when he got children, he wanted his children to be involved with it. Because in multi-level marketing, we get self-development. You become a better person. You learn to speak in front of people. You learn to introduce yourself to people. You learn to talk to people. You learn to leave people alone. I mean, you learn so much in this business, and it's just not natural for you to come. And so as you grow in network marketing, multi-level marketing, you're gonna get better and better and better. Now, my job today is to show you a short little system. And I got it from Jeff from the RC call the other day. Now, I've seen this before. I didn't get it. But on the RC, how many people are on the RC and above call this week? Anybody? Okay, Al Randolph probably remembers this. Wasn't it a great call, Al? Okay, you probably can't unmute. But it was a great call. He probably can't do it. You bounced out. Okay, that's okay. But it was a great call. It was a really good call, wasn't it? I mean, we learned so much on that call. It was scary. Mr. Provenzano turned it forward to Jeff, and Jeff talked about his story. Which Jeff Street has been in the business 20 years, 20 years going to SVP. Now, he already understood network multi-level marketing. He was with his mom when she was building the Princess House business. I'm going to go through all that. But he had a lot of experience with multi-level marketing, but it took him 20 years to get to the top of our comp plan, okay? And he did it the right way. Now, if you're 80 years old, you're going to say, well, this might not be for me, right? Because you might not be around when you're 105 to get there. But he said one thing that was important to me. It was follow up, follow up, follow up. Now, and Mr. Thomas knows that the fortune is in the what? In the follow up, okay? So he talked about the follow up. The guy that signed him up, Mr. Major, I don't know if it was Michael, I don't know which one it was, but he was at him for how many years? 5 years. 5 years to take a look at this business. 5 years. And finally, he ran into a brick wall with the company, the business he was building, and he signed up into our business. Now, he was already familiar with it because he was in a company that was bigger than you don't know what before. So he understood it, and he understood the power of it. But it went out of business and kind of broke his spirit. So he got started and built the business. He said he didn't come out to shoot really hard. He built it right, but he didn't come out really fast, so don't feel bad about that. But it wasn't until he came up with this system and somebody taught him this. So I'm teaching you what he taught on the call the other night and the other day. And Mr. Randolph and I both, and there's probably some more people in here that was on that. And can you, Al, I know you can't talk now, but it's hard to explain what we learned on that call from that SVP and a couple RVPs. And that is a system. And Mr. Thomas talks about it all the time. He calls it save yourself time, energy, and money. Okay, that's a system. So you have a system that you use to grow. Now, the system that he had was so simple, it's scary. And whatever system you use has to be simple. Now, this is not something that's different than what Mr. Thomas is talking about. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Okay, but he talks about 100 squares. Get a board. Y'all know what we're talking about here. Get a board. Get a sheet of paper. I'm going to get some paper today. I got it on a whiteboard in the back, but get a sheet of paper and put it on the wall. He said, when you walk in your house, you need to be able to see this. Out of sight is what? Out of mind. So if you got it in a notebook and you look in the notebook next month and you don't know who this name is, or you look in it 2 weeks from now, you can't remember who this is, it's out of sight. It's in your bag. You need to walk in and look at your wall and see this. It has to be seen and it needs to be big. You see the squares behind me? See all those squares behind me there? Okay, I just drew it up a couple hours ago. Okay, I was studying. I'm going over this Saturday and I'm meeting with the leadership after the meeting's over. But the thing that we got to do is we got to get some production put on the board. We need production on the board. Mr. Thomas, have you guys on this call so you can learn how to build a business. But more importantly, he wants each of you to learn how to build an organization. Okay, he wants Mr. Randolph to be able to build an organization of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. He wants Miss Anita Eno to build an organization with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,000 people. So we We want Miss Jackie Black to build the big organization with tons and tons of people. Okay. It's great to have an IBO, and we're waiting to see what the IBO is going to do and what his IBO is going to do. When we need to be more concerned about what we're going to do. What did we personally post this month, and how many did they get qualified with 2, 3, or 4 customers? That's what we personally do. So if you don't worry about your upline or your downline, what did you do? What did you do? Okay, and that's the thing. So, and if you get someone in a business, how can you show them how to do what you do? Because the name of the game is duplication. The name of the game is finding somebody to replace you. Mr. Provenzano told us this. You need someone to replace you. Okay, so there's 100 squares on the board back there. My job is to fill up that 100 squares. If 100 squares, which means 100 names that I talk to. I'm not talking about people that's in my group. I'm not talking about Daryl Ransom found Al Thomas. I got Daryl Ransom named down. I got Al Thomas named down, and Al Thomas got Lee Lemons named down. I'm not talking about putting down 4 or 5 names of people that I know that came in through the group and what they're doing and managing that. We're talking about me personally. How many names and numbers that I put on my board, and my job, my work for this month, as he explained, is to put 100 names on that board. You run into 100 people. And if you sign one of them up, you're not putting them under nobody else. Who you put them? They want directly to who? To you, right? Because in this new comp plan, if I put a rep under Al, who's under Daryl, who's under Freddie, he's on my 4th level. How much LDU? How much usage I'm gonna get out of that? One his customers and everybody under that until I become an RVP. Nothing. We know the comp plan. So that person needs to be direct to me. When I talk to I can't get his name now. Chanel Burke's husband, Aaron. Aaron said the biggest mistake he made was when they had to build the R&D, they had to build the SRVP. They had to put people under people, and you had to put a leader. You got a Mr. Thomas to come to the group, and he's going to put $1 million of billables in your organization. And you put him under somebody on his 7th level so you can get to be an RD, so he can become an RD. And you got $500,000 billables under your 5th level. It can get crazy down the road. They fixed that in our compensation plan. So I want you to be putting people direct to you, unless you get one of those crazy situations, you need a promotion, you might want to call Mr. Thomas, he'll tell you what to do with that, okay? But in this particular instance, these are people that are direct to you. You're finding your people. Now, once your people come in, what are you going to teach your people? Your people, you're going to be doing presentations for them, and you want to show them how to put a board up of 100 people. Now, everybody's not going to do this. You're looking for the people that's going to do this, okay? You're looking for the people that's going to do this. Next month, what did I do? I tear that board down, tear that October sheet down, put it on another wall, and I start on another 100 names. Now, Mr. Thomas taught us how to do that. He says, get how many a day? How many names and numbers he wants you to get a day? 3. He said, get 3 names and numbers, and you did your work. 3 names and numbers that you got go on the board. Well, after 30, 31 days, you got your 100. That's your 100. And all he's trying to get us to do is to go talk to some people that we don't know. Now, I say people you don't know. I'm going to say it again. Talk to all the people you know. But then at some point in time in our business, we got to get good at, like Mr. Randolph is, we got to get good at talking to people we don't know. And we're learning that right now. That's self-development. But the next month, November, December, we've got another sheet on the board. And what's that sheet? That's my personal work. That's my 100 people that I contacted that month. Some of them interested, some of them not interested. So I want to show you what it's all about, but I'm gonna put a video on so you can watch it, and I'll let Jeff explain it to you. We'll show some of it today because of time, and then next week we will show some more of it, okay? Because this month I'm gonna concentrate on the work that you're supposed to be doing for yourself and not dependent on your group, because your group is gonna be there once you show them how to do what you're doing. Once you learn to do what you're supposed to do, then you can go show somebody else. But if you don't know, because you don't know, and I'm not even saying no one's doing this, but you don't have it on a board and their names aren't down and you forgot about them and you found a piece of paper you cleaned the car out and you found a piece of paper on the floor under your seat. the floor, the name of the piece of paper on the floor on your seat is Al Randolph. Al Randolph knew a guy that's the SVP. Where's Al Randolph's name? Where's his name? You found it on a piece of paper on a floor under your seat in your car when you clean your car out. You don't know where that paper came from. And guess what you did with it? Threw it in the trash because you're cleaning your car out. So we got to take those names and numbers and get them on a board so we can see them when we come in and we say, oh, I'm behind 2 people. I got to get caught up. Oh, I'm ahead of myself, but I need to get in touch with this guy. I called, nobody answered. I'm gonna call again today. That's something you can see, because out of sight is what? Out of mind. Okay, so I'm gonna share this video.
But the person I was 17 years ago would never be able to sign up the people that I'm signing up today. Does that make sense to everybody? Because you don't become great at anything overnight, right? So you got to work on yourself, man. Andy Andrews, the speaker at our convention, when Melissa and I first started dating, like a month or 2 after we started dating, we were talking about personal growth. I bought her that book, The Traveler's Gift. That was one of the first personal growth books that Melissa ever read. You know, that book was life-changing for me and for so many people. So if you're like looking for something to read right now, knowing that he's going to be our guest speaker 3 weeks from now, if you haven't read The Traveler's Gift, I encourage you to read that book. That's a great place to start. Matter of fact, I got interviewed this week on the #1 network marketing podcast show in the country. And, you know, he asked me, what's the first book you would recommend to somebody? Simon Chen is his name. And I said, you know, I said, Andy Andrews, The Traveler's Gift. And so that's a great place to start. So one spot is you got to become the person that other people want to follow. And if you're taking notes, write that down. I will become the person that other people want to follow. The second part of really becoming a professional network marketing is you got to master personal recruiting. See, you can only put the team on the field that you have on your roster. Let me say that again. You got to think like the GM of your own sports team here. How many of us like sports? You know, you got to be the GM of your own sports team. Now, the NFL season just ended. You know, congratulations to the Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. That's exciting. But now here's what's happening. Every NFL team in the country, here's what they're doing. They're scouting. They're preparing for the draft. They're looking to see what trades that can they do. What players are they going to do? Matter of fact, you know, I know we got, you know, Dale and Kelly. Kelly's literally working with these NFL players right now. She's their agent for many of them, figuring out what team are they going to. These young guys coming out of college, what team's going to pick them? And these and the GM of a team, they're looking for talent to go out and bolster the roster of their team. Now, who would agree the Detroit Lions this past year, they could only put the players on the field that they had on the roster? You know, who would agree they would have loved to have, you know, a better wide receiver or quarterback or whatever get on the field, but those people weren't on the roster. So realize wherever you're at in your business right now is where you're at. Does that make sense? And you can only put the players on the field to go and get reps and customers that you have on your roster. But if you think like the GM, and especially you realize in today's time, there's so many talented people that are in what I call the draft pool right now. Meaning I believe there's more people now than I've ever seen in my 17 years doing this, talented, successful people, people that are leaders, people that have done great things, people like the Steve Leifeites of the world, people like the Bob and Carolyn Ferngrens in the world, people that have done amazing things that right now are like, yeah, I'm open for something different. So the draft is plentiful. Who would agree in the NFL, some years the draft has amazing talent. Other years, the talent is still good, but it wasn't as good as it was the year before. Right now, the draft is plentiful. So you got to have that mindset. And here's the thing. One thing that I learned, everybody hears us talk about sorting. One thing I learned a long time ago, they said, look, you got to make recruiting a game. How many of us, when we make something a game, it becomes fun? They said, look, the secret to success in this industry is you have to learn how to detach the emotions from the yeses and the nos. When you make it a game, you can detach the emotions from the yeses and the nos. And the first game that I saw, or the first analogy that kind of made me realize this, was they said, listen, you got to think like you got a bucket, and in that bucket, there's 100 oysters. And now in that bucket of 100 oysters, only 3 of those oysters have a pearl in them. The other 97 oysters in that bucket have no pearls. Now I'm going to show you guys how amateurs do network marketing, and I'm going to show you how professionals do network marketing. Everybody ready? So here's what amateurs do. They dive into the bucket. They get their first oyster. They open it up. Is there a pearl? Let me analyze it a little bit more. Might be a pearl, might not. Let me just rub on it a little bit. Let me kind of go around in circles. Let me just pray for it a little bit. I do believe you have a pearl in you. No pearl. Now imagine there's two of us, right? And we've got Jeff the sorter and Jeff the convincer. Now, Jeff the sorter's got one bucket over here. Jeff the convincer has another bucket over here. They each have 100 oysters in it. Now, Jeff the convincer is who you just saw a minute ago. How fast is Jeff the convincer going through that bucket of 100 oysters looking for the pearls? Pretty slow. Who would agree with that? Here's what Jeff the sorter is doing. No pearl, shuck it over my shoulder. No pearl, shuck it over my shoulder. Oh, no pearl, shuck it. Oh, let me grab another one. Let me grab, oh, the night that we go, oh, I'm on my 27th oyster. Oh my God, there's a pearl. Awesome, cool, perfect. Put that one here, got my pearl, oh, go down. Oh, no pearl, shuck it over my shoulder. Now, Jeff the convincer, he finally has his second oyster that he's grabbed. Oh, I'm not even gonna open this one yet. I gotta say a prayer for this one first. Matter of fact, I'm going to call everybody in my upline and tell them about this one person I have coming to the meeting tonight. And they have to be the one because I need this to work. And this guy, I know he can do it. I know that this is the person. They got to have a pearl. Oh, man, there's not a pearl, but I still believe. Is everybody getting what I'm saying? So your list of 100 names, that's why it's so important to make your list of 100 names. Your list on your name is going to have some pearls in it. And you're going to have some oysters that don't have a pearl. Now realize when we talked about the follow-up over time, here in this business, some of those oysters that didn't have a pearl could develop one. In my oyster shucking thing, an oyster with no pearl is not just going to grow one. But here, remember the fortune of the follow-up, longevity equals credibility. But how many of us just from what I talked about so far, and I'm just getting warmed up here, how many of us just from what I talked about so far already have a little bit of different perspective when it comes to recruiting? Sorting versus convincing, right? But here's something that a mentor of mine taught me in my early days in network marketing that forever changed my life. He said, here's a way that you can go out and make this into a game. And he said, I'm going to teach you about the 100 squares of personal exposure. See, it's not the yeses and nos that you want to track. How many of us are tracking yeses and nos, honestly? He said, it's not the yeses and nos you want to track. It's the amount of personal exposures that you've done. And he said, the secret number, anybody know what the secret number is? We keep saying it. 100. He said, what I want you to do, Jeff, he said, I want you to go out and get a poster board. He said, I want you to get a poster board. Anybody ever seen the 100 Super Bowl squares? Some of you guys probably played that last weekend. Hopefully some of you guys won something on that, right? He said, I want you to get a poster board and I want you to draw out 100 squares on that poster board. And he goes, I want you to hang it on the back of your bedroom door. I go, what am I going to do that? He goes, because every time you show somebody the business, you're going to put their name on a square. You're going to put their name, their phone number, what happened in the meeting, and you're going to leave space where you can follow up with those people. And he said, here's what I'm going to tell you. He goes, I can't tell you which square is going to yield you a pearl. I don't know if it's going to be square number 1 or if it's going to be square number 76. He goes, but I'm willing to bet if you do this the right way and you follow up with people the right way, by the time you've hit your 100th square, you're going to find at least 3 pearls in this business. And you're going to be at least a regional director or at least a regional coordinator on the way to regional director by the time you've personally showed 100 people the business. He goes, coach your team, help your team do their meetings, but you got to take matters in your own hand, Jeff, because you need this thing to work for yourself. And you got to quit waiting for somebody else to do it. You got to make a decision that you're going to do it. And he goes, we got to go out and have this. He goes, Jeff, I see you on the emotional roller coaster all the time. How many of us know what the emotional roller coaster is? Like the highs and the lows. Like somebody signs up, awesome, this person's going to be the one. They don't do very much. Oh man, I'm down and defeated. Somebody's supposed to come to a meeting. They don't show up. Oh, I'm down and defeated. Now 5 people coming. Oh, I'm back up again. Oh, they didn't want to sign up. I'm back down again. That's the entrepreneurial roller coaster. How many of us have ever been on it? If you've ever been on that roller coaster, say aye. See, it's universal and we've all been on it, but me learning what I'm teaching you here right now, this helped me detach my emotions from the S's and the No's, and it helped me keep the bar even keel. See, how do you stay on a roller coaster? You keep the bar down. See, this is what really taught me how to keep the bar down, in my journey, especially in the early days. So he said, I want you to go out and put 100 squares down. And then every time you show somebody the business personally, you're going to put their name, their phone number, what happened, and again, a time to follow up with them. He said, and here's what started happening. I remember the first time I did it, I did a meeting. I did a meeting personally. I had 4 people that came to my meeting. Patrick did the presentation and nobody signed up. Now, the week before, I was like, oh my God, nobody signed up. I would have been devastated. But now my mindset shifted. See, guys, when you change your perspective, you change your reality. And when you change your reality, you change your business, you change everything. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I get to write 4 names down on my grid. And I'm 4 squares closer to my 100. And I was digging and I was digging and I was digging for those 3 pearls. And I knew somewhere in those 100 squares, they were going to come. Is everybody catching what I'm saying? And see, all of a sudden, if people said no, it was like, cool. They saw the business. I did my job. It wasn't the S's and the No's. What was it? It was about the exposures. Somebody put in the chat exposures. See, that's what it's all about. It's about just having people take a look at the opportunity. And when you can focus on how many exposures do I have, and that's all you focus on, I'm telling you, amazing things are going to happen in your business. And so I started doing this. And here's what was amazing. By the time I hit 100, shortly before I hit 100, I actually hit regional director. But guys, I've still been doing this over and over and over again. And here's what I'll tell you. A couple years ago, COVID happened. How many of us remember COVID? All of us, right? And man, we went from home meetings and living and hotel trainings and going to networking events and meeting people to being stuck in our houses. And I know some of you guys have been building your business on social media for years. Man, like I'd never even done a live video before. And then COVID happened. And I was like, I got to reinvent myself. So I called my buddy, Simon Chen. I go, man, I got to reinvent myself. I got to learn some stuff about social media. And here's what he taught me. Consistency is the key to mastery. He goes, Jeff, you got some great content. Why don't you do a live video every single day? I go, for how long? He goes, I don't know. Just do it for a long time. I go, okay, great. So guys, let me tell you this. I was like, in order for me to coach my team, I got to get back on the playing field myself. And I got to just start putting people in front of this thing. And so I started this 100 square board literally at the very beginning of COVID. I mean, how many of you think just because Melissa and I were platinum regional vice presidents that every time we show somebody the business that they sign up? If you think that, man, you're going to realize really quickly that that's not even close to the case. So I started using social media and I started calling some people I hadn't talked to in a while. And you know what? The very first 8 people that I showed the business to, they got on presentations. They all decided not to join ACN, but that's okay. Cause that was 8 what? 8 exposures. But the 9th person, they signed up. And you know how much I was like, I finally got somebody to sign up. You know how much they did? Nothing. That first person I recruited on this board didn't even get customer qualified. Not because I didn't try to help them, but they weren't willing to help themselves. And, so I started doing these Facebook lives. I did one every day for 365 days straight. And it was just a positive message in a dark, dark time in this world. And I had a buddy that I hadn't seen in years. He was actually an ex-girlfriend's cousin that I went on a camping trip with once, like 11 years before. That was the extent of our relationship, but we were connected on social media. He sent me, he just put a comment on my message saying, man, I love that you're bringing so much positivity. And I remember I sent him a direct message. I go, hey man, thank you so much. By the way, I'm working on something exciting right now. It may or may not be for you. Would you be open to taking a look? And he wrote me back, yeah, man, I want to see what you're doing. I got him on a meeting. He signed up. The first person he brought into ACN is Josh Shea. Josh Shea is on this call here tonight. Josh is a regional director. Josh brought in his mom, who's a regional director. His mom brought in JJ Hellum, that's a regional director. Guys, that 10th square has produced 3 regional directors in my organization. That was a pearl. Who would agree with that? Now, actually, my buddy, Skylar, he didn't really do very much. He wasn't the pearl, but he led me to a pearl in Josh. So, but That was pretty exciting. I found a pearl on number 10. That was awesome. So then number 11 got started. Number 11 actually worked at the gym that I was at. So I knew she was having a hard time. The gym was closed, called her up. Hey, are you open to other ways of making money? Yes. Okay, great. Invited her to a meeting. So she got started. That was number 11, Tisha. You know,
all right. I hope you got something out of that. Now, the reason I say that, this guy goes on and on and on and on about the RDs, the RVPs, and the RSCs that came in through this really, really simple system. And the only thing I can tell you is so simple about it is you guys already know the rest. Mr. Tom's been teaching you. You know what he's talking about. We just got to put it on paper. We just got to put it on paper so that behind your bedroom wall, in your living room wall, right behind my desk, we got to put it out there so we can see it and we know where we are. Because some of these people, it's just a bad time for them. We follow. He even talked about how to follow. If I want to follow with Mr. Thomas, this is what I would do. This is what I do if I was following with him. And he told me don't call back no more because he's not interested in it. He said, call him back. Call him back. This is what he said to do. Ready? Mr. Thomas, how you doing? Great. Hey, listen, I got to apologize. This thing is bigger than I thought it was. I was showing you something a month ago or 2 months ago. This is bigger than I thought. We have health insurance now. And health insurance is a $3 trillion industry. He said, apologize and go and show him what we got because we got some more stuff coming. In other words, you caught the guy, he's not interested. And he said how to do the follow-up, and just keep on moving. So what I want us to do is during the month, this at least the first Monday of this, the first week, the first day of each week this month, I want to stay on this theme so we can come up with a way to do this. Now you're going to have your ways, you're going to have different way, a different color, different chart. Yeah, but most importantly, you'll know that your work is to get 3 names and numbers. Now, when Mr. Thomas started off today, I'm concluding here. He said, how many people got a lead? I didn't have one. And not too many people had a lead. How many leads was I supposed to have? I was supposed to have 3. Everybody on the call should have had 3. Mr. Thomas should have said, y'all shut up. I ain't got time to write all that down. I don't have time. He should have said, I don't have time. If we all did what we were supposed to do, we should have had 3 leads from yesterday or the day before. And he won't ask that question no more. He'll say, put it in the comments. He'll say, put it in the comments. He don't have time to go through them. That means we're not doing our work. That means we're not doing our work. It's just that simple. So we're going to learn to do that. And so that's all I have, Mr. Thomas. It's all yours.